Hey everyone, and welcome to Trader Jake's channel. I got a couple of names to go over. I think it's five or six in total. Two of them reported earnings today, which are AMD and Google. The first one is going to be DJT. What I was basically looking at was this trend zone flip, and I did include a tweet of which I mentioned this setup before it actually occurred. I had pointed to where I had mentioned it at, which was $29. You can see it's basically up about 88% from there with this 2 week swing, in which was a very good swing trade for me. I was able to catch the majority of this move. I actually did not catch this day because I exited yesterday after we got into this quarterly pivot. So still from 29 up to 48 was a pretty good swing on some options. From here, I was looking at this quarterly, which was breaking out, and you can see that over here to the right side. After we got above this gap fill, we also reclaimed this all-time high VWAP, in which I'm looking for an even bigger move in the coming days or weeks if this can continue. Of course, this name is going to be election-based, as I would assume that into the elections, all of this move is going to occur. And probably after they actually start to announce who's going to win presidential, all of that, this is probably going to fade, just like most of the meme names do, like GameStop or AMC, something like that. But in the meantime, let's enjoy this momentum while it's here. I'm looking for this basically to hold around this $36 to $42. And from there, if this can start to build above this 48 area, I'm thinking that we do end up taking out this pivot high, and then we get a move into the 2024 highs. They've also included more option strikes, so that can help squeeze this name if they are able to continue pushing this with the momentum that we have seen so far. So on to the next name, it'll be Nflx. And Nflx is one of my favorites for a few different reasons, but majority of the reason is that it's one of the strongest tech names as of this year, or at least it's been showing the most relative strength in moments of weakness for the market. And this and Meta are two of my favorite names because I truly think that they're going to be the true market leaders going into 2025. And based off of everything that has occurred up to this point, I can't see any reason why they wouldn't be. I'm basically looking for this to continue to hold my 736 pivot after we have expanded over the 725.70, in which we stalled at my 769.70. These levels to me are so important because I had these before the all-time highs even came, and these are implying a mass expansion. So essentially, I'm looking at if price can build between this 753, 769.70, and then hold this 736 if this happens to fade a little bit. I'm looking for a massive move into the end of the year. I personally think that Nflx will be a $1,000 stock within the next 2 or 3 years, but taking it day by day, I'm basically looking for this general range that it has formed since this earnings breakout to hold, this VCP to continue to play out and consolidate and start to build another leg up and get something like this to where we can get up into these highs, into these levels. And if the price confirms from here, this name is going to go parabolic. I don't know when it's going to happen, but keep it on watch. Nflx is not a name that you want to miss going into the end of the year. The next one is going to be Meta. I had tweeted earlier today that I thought that this was going to get new all-time high prior to earnings. Earnings is tomorrow, I believe. It's already at all-time high essentially right now as I'm recording this after hours. This name has been holding above this 560.75, which is my expansion zone above the all-time high break. And for me, this is implying another $40 to $80 move, in which is a big range to consider. But if you look at what has already happened, we've already gotten that $40 move, and we are building in this range for the next $40 move, in which this is going to take us up to my 645. If Meta gets 645, do not miss the move that is going to occur afterwards, because this can be a massive leader coming into the next couple of months. The next name I'm going to go over is AMD. AMD is essentially in a no trade zone for me personally. I just wanted to go over this chart because I think that a lot of people are probably going to get trapped in this name over the course of the next couple of weeks. And I personally have no interest in it whatsoever until it's outside of these green boundaries, which I have noted on here as until it is under 138 or above 178. Until it breaks either side of that range, this can essentially be trendless and build little trends on the lower time frames that aren't going to give you clean price action, and it's probably going to be trappy, especially with the fact that it's already failed this breakout 3 or 4 times and it's still just consolidating and it's inside on a couple of higher time frames. So just be careful if you were touching this. I would much rather trade other names like Qualcomm, Nvidia, AVGO, TSM. All of those have better probabilities, in my opinion, of getting that upside move if the market is going to hold. The next name is going to be Google. I'll keep this one short and sweet. This has a inverse head and shoulder that has formed up until this point on earnings. It's held this huge volume shelf. Today was the first day since this gap down that it broke back above this anchored VWAP from this past earnings right over here back in April. And you can see how it was able to reject once, twice, and then it finally closed above it today. And now it is above into this gap fill in earnings right now. 178 is going to be the massive level for me. Trade idea for tomorrow would be if this opens up above 178 and can stay green on the day, this has a move to fill this gap fill at 181.8 up to 183 and essentially a clean shot, relatively speaking, to new all-time high. The overall market dynamics are going to play a factor for that. If this gap's too far from 178, be cautious that it's going to be a huge gap up that's going to roll over at open and probably die and try to consolidate from there or digest some of this gap up. The closer we are to 178, the higher probability this trade will be. Carvana is going to be the last one I'm going to go over, and this one has been an absolute monster. I have no clue why this stock is moving the way that it is, other than it has momentum and it has full time frame continuity, which is all I really care about, so it's good enough for me. After this breakout we've seen over here, which I did post this in chat actually, this 194 is such a massive spot. And as you can see, price consolidated there and basically did nothing for about a 2 week period and built some nice volume right there before it was able to confirm that level and imply higher. For me, this is implying another $35 move from this 194 area, which if we do the math right here, $35 move from this 194 area would be about 228. So I'm looking at 228 to 241 area into these 2022 highs. And that is, of course, if they can hold and resolve to the upside on earnings. I have no bias going into the earnings. I really don't care if this resolves higher or not. Either way, this could be a really good trade if it happens to pull back into this 194 to 190, or even worst case scenario down to this 172 to 178 area. This could be a potential dip buy after the next week or so's price action. We will see how this lines up and how this plays out. That being said, that wraps this up, and I will see you guys in the next one.